Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective as we continue chit-chatting of our lovely lovers. And if you're new, lovers are self-agents, so it's people who have their ventral vagal state in the forefront, their restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating lifestyle ideas, mindfulness practices right here in the forefront, and that's why we love to love, and our babies, they love to laugh and live and learn and expand and not cast stones. And we also have stars in our pockets. And here's where, when you are a self-empowered, enlightening person, we'll be rolling out with themes throughout the week. And so today is all about the spiritual component, because I get cards and I have fun on the weekends and on weekdays as well, but sometimes it's just how we're going to do things, Maria. Okay, and that's where my regular listeners and viewers, those of you who are here, get ready to rumble and roll when our tears are out. So there's pieces of content on IHP that will be for tears, and I will allow myself to leave it at that. If you're one-to-one mentorship, yes, self-help, personal development, spiritual development, and that's for lovers, not the ones who are following the pseudo-intellectual people and anybody who gives them a good story to make it sound like they're princesses and princes, and we're going to get into that one. I'm attachment trauma informed, so you can bring out the lover or siren in you. It is your choice, and by the way, no, not if you still have a fake self, which needs Patrick Tiahan, and so that's where people will have self-soothing, unhealthy mechanisms. They're called maladaptive patterns of behavior, and besides their actual Cusco attitude, they also bring in more, and we're going to, again, expand on that. So for me, my relationships, all of them, are not with any kind of drama. There's no story that involves a stressed out Maria. There can be a concerned, yes, definitely, but because I am an empowered feminine, I am not one of those who is a martyr superior, so I don't get pushy because I got to mature myself, and I'm not a victim blamer either. I don't become the squirrel from Cusco land who thinks I did everything for everyone. Why doesn't anybody love me? So when you're not a 0-8-year-old of yourself, because you got to move into becoming the self-led you as a teenager, I already have my first lover, and you're going to hear about it again. My teenage boyfriend, he didn't break me. Although sometimes I think people think, but that's the part of why the sirens, they think that we need to all feel the same, and those are emotionally immature people who they want a crutch. And as a teenager, I'm like, I ain't a crutch. I'm this, and that's my prefrontal cortex. Why aren't you taking my side? Because I didn't realize how vicious you would get for a breakup. No, it's I promised Jesus and God and Holy Spirit that I love, and you're really just upset. Don't you know how to deal with upset? You're no emotions, Maria. No, I am emotional. I'm just not being dramatic. Orphaned part. When you meet 11, 12, 13-year-olds who begin to not let their flight response be just genuine, pure vulnerability, you say, wow, they're being mean by pretending to be mean. They're not really mean. I know they're children like me. And that's why I get to be Pacha. And Cusco can continue lying through his teeth. Pacha lets him because I'm a functional child adult. I don't need conditions. I know healthy self-worth. And that's why I only do this. Use stress. Because by the fifth wheel, Cusco, I know your hand. And you're not poker. Because I'm not spiting you. And you're not really spiting me. The people who spite themselves, like Janina Fisher points out, it's not self-sabotage. And like Dr. Daniel Fox points out, maladaptive patterns are really hard. You fall back on them. That's why you have healthy self-worth people who you can count on to actually accept, respect, and love you just the way you are. I have a functional alcoholic who's a friend of mine. The first time I saw this person, he did not see me. And if you're a mystic, you remember how they say the 5D people won't be seen by the 4D, 3D? Yeah, so that's bullshit. By the way, we're going to have a bit of this and a bit of that as story time, okay, besides the cards. And so it's bullshit, but then again, it's true, because a higher self-led person, I got taught I bring the human elements to the spiritual so that I can make it tangible. You're not carbonite and crystallite and DNA and all these wonderful princessy stories and 144,000. I mean, really, I'm starting to think that it's because only 144,000 will survive the ascension energies, which continue to come in. I mean, that's the only way I'm actually able to get a hold of this number at this point. Humanly speaking, I'm just thinking, well, the earth is headed places because people don't believe the environment is in danger. They keep on making up shit like the earth is flat, or I don't know, that the moon doesn't exist. Their rabbit holes keep on getting bigger and bigger. It's hilarious. I thought 3D, 4D would actually grow up and get common sense. This is a really wonderful book. Here's what happens when you got a 3-year-old who's pissing in their pants and a 16-year-old who's an idiot jackass who wants to think they know everything. And I'm not a teenager of myself. I met the teenagers. That's why I'm talking like this. They don't frustrate me anymore, because if you want your not well-being, hey, Cusco, have a good time. I ain't gonna be stopping you, because then I'm gonna be one of those who nags. I don't want to nag. Why would I use my energy when you're already in your biologically rude ears, not even hearing me? Distorting shit, talking over me, not telling the truth in my face, hiding behind my back, acting like Cusco. Cusco's not a Lucifer. Nobody's a Lucifer. Nobody's a monster. That's the thing. The 0-8-year-old is a sad story, and when I do have to say what I think, yes, let me pause for reflection. In fact, we may even be more likely to be wrong when we're angry. Research shows that the certainty of anger is linked with processing information more superficially. And there's a bookmark or a reference point or whatever they're called, bibliography. It's, yes, at the end, not the footnote. So I can't read to you what it is, but it's okay. Go buy the book if you want. This is on page 20. It's really good. We think less carefully when making our judgments and rely more on stereotypes. Yes, so anyone who's smart, this is not the only data point. And those who don't want to believe in this, they'll go use pseudo-intellectual idiots who tell them that they're going to, yes, dismantle the modern day therapists who are trying to imprison you. And there's your siren. And it ain't no siren, but you better bet. Poor unfortunate souls. So sad, but true. That one wanting to be pretty. That one wanting to get the girl. Then do I help them? No, I don't. You're following fake leaders. But hey, 7 of 14 are charming to the idiots. Apparently the idiots don't know how to get out of that dead end. And I do mean well. Because, see, the dead end is basically like the cave from, what was it, Plato with Socrates? Yeah, so the village, yes, we all have a village. If you have a village that doesn't tell you about what the opportunities are for your well-being, so whether it is a mystic, which is what I am, who is a content creator, who can tell you all about what destruction actually means and sustaining and what true healing is, versus the comedians of those who have the unseen self and their shadow. We don't need to see your shadow on screen all the time, because that's not the self of you. Self of you is when you take it seriously to get yourself an integrated brain, because that way you can have access to your actual heart and get out of the cave and cavemen and cavewomen and cave days, please. I mean, if you want to be on that mountain all by yourself, yes, we know what happens. You know what shame, defectiveness, and heartbrokenness does to people? Does anybody know? I'm waiting. So, when you find out, thanks Peter Levine, that little bird with a broken wing will say no to a 5D collective member of ours, it's pretty straightforward. Mentor. They can lead you to continue to buy into your bullshit, and there you go, or talk sense into you, which is really fun, by the way, because I love being a mystic. And so with mysticism comes, by the way, empirical mysticism at one point in our lovely history. I don't know what schools are going to start with it, but I can't wait, because I really want to hear more about it. I want to hear how science makes sense of spirituality, because, they can't really ever make us not believe. In the future, I don't know, but I'm not in the future yet. I'm still here as Maria, the mystic mentor, content creator, and podcast host. And with that, I take seriously science. So pseudoscience lady is what I am, but I'm not a pseudo-intellectual because I love information and I love to learn things. And I don't bullshit myself because I don't like what I hear. I actually don't do that because I got taught how to basically be able to be my angry little butthole, and that's why I am a person who knows how to be mindfully myself. And when I get upset, I know how not to play God, because I'm not divinity, nor is anybody else. If they embody any speck of it, then they'll know how not to dress themselves up, because the minute you start talking about yourself as divine, you are forgetting that you are actually a piece of consciousness, and you are in flesh, and your flesh equals you have biases, you have child parts. No matter how much you are matured, you will still have preferences, which is why I don't have judgment, but I do have preferences. And at IHP, I don't want any of those who play the comedians, because they consistently, I'm a healer, you're trauma dumping on me. That's a codependent person who needs Patrick Chan not to be a healer, because they are just as bad as the therapists who are triggered and say, my colleagues, they're all against me because they're telling you that narcissists are healable. Really? See, look at the spectrum. Look, they're always the same. So are you, apparently, with your little facade. And the minute you say, my colleagues are against me, I think of teenage girls. I'm all alone. And I mean, I was also misunderstood, but not with an exile. In fact, the only time I said to myself, I'm all alone, I said, what? And that's your higher self, by the way. So yes, I'm a teenager, and I'm actually saying this shit. And you're not alone, Maria. You got a twin, you got a mom. You just have different opinions. What's the deal? Why are you sounding like a sob story right now? Be appreciative. Your family won't always be around. When you have an empowered feminine, you got an empowered masculine, you got a star baby right here. And when people don't like it, that's a vain person. No, I'm not vain, but I do believe in myself, and I am mentor, shaman, mystic, all of it, because that's what an empowered feminine is. And guess what? There are shamans for clowns. Yes, I found that one out. So I'm not surprised. The same way we have mentors, shamans, you got poets, you got a bunch of them for the 4D collective. They're all sirens, not because they energy vampire. No. They got shit they don't take care of. So again, expanding and growing more loving. Yes, that's what love stories do for an empowered mystic, mentor, shaman, spiritual content creator, podcast host who is here to tell you, you don't have to go down in the dumps. Nope. When you're a self-empowered person who's enlightening, you will bring out the lover of you, not the siren of you. And it is a choice for somebody else to do whatever the fuck they want with their life. Because at the end of the day, do you know what happens when you tell Cusco, here's the real deal? So what happens is that they don't listen to you. As, again, Peter Levine points out, the bird will go towards the cave with the cat that will eat it. And so I'm not going to bother trying to be that person. The Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune right here. I know exactly how many times I'm going to share my food for thought like I do here. And then I'm going to leave it alone, because the truth is that you will hear the truth of Anima Mundi, which is neutrality and duality, only if you have love for yourself as you are, which means you take care of your health. And so when I get busted my quote unquote balls by that primary caregiver, I do love her to death, and she knows that. So I say, I'm going to say no. I know moderation, but I'm going to say thank you because that's what love is. Love is where we keep each other accountable in a healthy way, not in a pain in the ass way. I don't want to see the world like, you know, that movie with what's his face, Sylvester Stallone. Is it called The Destroyer? Destructor, the Demolition Man. I think it's Demolition Man. Anyways, so if it's the one that I'm thinking about, it's where he is frozen because of accidentally, or there's, you know, the whole, put aside the drama shit, because really, when I think of that. But long story short, if you you know what, since I do have my phone, I might as well look it up. Just give me a second, because I want to move to another topic as well, and then we'll be done for today. Demolition Man. Yes, it's a 1993 action sci-fi. Yes, it is that. Okay, so he gets awoken in the future. He can't curse. They give him eggshells every time, or no, he can't curse, and they bill him. He's got a fee. Okay, I'm trying to explain the movie, which maybe you won't want that, but there's just a bunch of things that happen in the future. They use eggshells instead of toilet paper. I don't want no eggshells. Not eggshells, seashells. Imagine that, eggshells. Maybe we're gonna fuck that shit. Okay, long story short, who knows what the future will look like, but I'm just hoping it won't be the way that this future was, which is basically that you can't do shit. You can't eat a hamburger, you can't drink a beer, you can't curse, you can't, and I'm like, okay, that's really extreme. And you know who's extreme? The immature adaptive child part person. In fact, that movie reminds me of this man in a cloak. He's become a Franciscan or whatever the word is, and he goes on screen and tells you how amazing it is to be abstaining from all of humanity, basically. And I'm like, yeah, no. So when some people will say, but, you know, why won't you go and become a nun? It's like, I don't want to be a nun. If I wanted to be a nun, I would be a nun. I don't want to be a nun. And so, again, anybody watch Ice Age? Remember Manny the Mammoth? Okay, so this is a very beautiful mammoth that I got in my college years. And so here's the story of Ice Age now. We move away from the extreme individuals who want us to not live at all to ventral vagal state health is really fun. Having an integrated brain is really amazing, and that's why you don't choose to be your own shadow, which means to stay with unhealed parts of you. Exiles have a way that they protect people because the exiles are also protectors. And lovers know that, which is why we don't take it personally when we have that which is a brother or sister and or, again, all that is going to be Cusco, because I know the truth. The truth is you're like me. You have a heart. Where's my angel? So like Manny in Ice Age gets actually talked into a lot of shit thanks to Sid. But Sid is the one who holds them together. So Sid's the little dork. I'm like the little dork, and I definitely am not Manny. I could be Diego, but I'm not really Diego either, because I definitely would not be that type of trickster. Diego, on the other hand, he goes through half of the movie making fake, and he's actually bringing them home to eat. And who talks sense when it happens? You need Manny, and you need the little Sid, and you need the Diego, because they make a team. And that's how it works. You make a herd. A herd is made of people who love each other, and that's what I love about the self-agents, is that we know we can each talk bullshit. I don't have this, but what I can tell you I have is a inner child who definitely is sad when I get to meet these, and I learned how to leave it alone because it's none of my business. As somebody told me when I was a teenager, young adult, you tell us what to do all the time, but you don't do it. Shit, you're right. I'm such a hypocrite. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. I will correct that right now, and I thank you for having pointed it out. So that's what happens when you're a self-led person, because you're not trying to hide yourself. You're just being yourself. And so bringing human and spiritual elements together and you being able to be yourself mindfully. Those are going to be some of those themes that we'll be talking about. And that's for next week and the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, this one is going to be the when you are self-empowered, enlightening person, you bringing out the lover or siren of you is a choice. And I'm going to actually do the more of this in our next episode, which will be expanding and growing, more loving, our part of love stories for our 5D collective. That way I can also continue with sharing with you some stories. If you don't come back, thank you for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. And again, if you do like the content, put the notification bell, because I have a very flexible calendar that I manage on Maria's time. And so I have decided, though, that we're going to do themes, and that's in a number of ways. So that will be more for the future. Ciao.